It began with the sound of breathing. Not hers. It was softer than a whisper, but steady, too steady. She would hear it in the darkest part of the night, when the house lay still under its winter weight and the oil lamps had long since been turned down. Margaret had been in service at Bellwick House for 14 years. She rose before the sun, tended the fires, polished the brass. She knew every floorboard that groaned and every hinge that complained. But this sound, this faint, patient breathing, did not belong to the house she knew. It came from the room at the far end of the attic passage. The one no one entered. Bellwick House had many unused rooms, but this one was different. The door was low and narrow, its frame crooked, as if the house had been built around it rather than for it. When she passed by on her way to store linens, she always felt the need to move quickly, without looking. The first time she heard it, she thought it was the wind pressing against the eaves. But the wind rises and falls. This did not. It kept a human rhythm. And then she noticed something worse. It stopped whenever she stepped close. Days passed. She avoided the attic hallway when she could. The other servants laughed when she mentioned it, though not loudly, and not for long. "That's only the old nursery," cook said once, drying her hands. "Been empty since, well, since before my time." One January evening, she was sent up for extra blankets. There was no avoiding the nursery. Her candle trembled as she walked. The passage narrowed, the air colder. The door to the nursery stood ajar. And the breathing was there. Slow. Even. Waiting. She told herself not to look, but glanced anyway. The walls were papered in a faded print of moons and stars, peeling at the edges. A small bed stood in the corner, its coverlet too neat. And on the pillow, an indentation. Perfectly shaped, as though a head still rested there. She hurried past without taking the blankets. From that night on, she began to dream. In these dreams, she stood in the nursery. The window was open, a pale wind stirring the curtains. And there, in the bed, lay a girl. She was not sleeping. Her eyes were open, white and glassy, fixed on the ceiling. Yet Margaret knew she was dreaming. In the mornings, the dreams clung to her. She began losing track of her work. More than once, the mistress scolded her for forgetting simple tasks. The dreams grew longer. The girl's hair was dark and tangled. Her lips moved faintly, murmuring words Margaret could not hear. And always, that same breathing, soft, steady. One night, the girl spoke clearly. "They will send you to me," she said. Margaret woke gasping, the taste of cold air still in her mouth. By February, she thought she saw movement in the nursery while awake, shapes shifting in the dimness, as though someone had rolled over in bed. One afternoon, when the household was out, she climbed the attic stairs and stepped inside. The air was colder here, holding a faint smell of flowers left too long in water. The bed was as she remembered. The indentation deepened as she watched. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, as though the unseen head upon it had turned to face her. Her candle guttered. From the bed came a faint rustle. Then, the breathing began again. Not from the pillow. From just beside her ear. She dropped the candle. Darkness swallowed the room. The breathing grew louder. She backed away and found herself in the hall without remembering how she'd moved. The moment she stepped out, it stopped. After that, she avoided the attic entirely. But the dreams did not stop. In them, she stood at the foot of the bed, the girl's eyes fixed on her. "It's nearly time," the girl would whisper. Margaret never asked what she meant, but always woke with a dread she could not explain. By March, she no longer knew if she was sleeping at all. Her nights were filled with the nursery. Her days were filled with the same, only quieter. On the last night she worked at Bellwick House, the dreams changed. She was in her own narrow bed in the servants' quarters. Yet the breathing came from just behind her head. She turned. The girl was lying beside her. Eyes open. Not sleeping. Still dreaming. Her lips moved. This time Margaret heard every word. "Now you never wake either." The next morning, her bed was empty. Her apron still hung on the wall. But the pillow held a perfect indentation, as though a head still rested there.